how did someone as pathetic as Buggy become a Yonko? We're talking about a literal clown being put in the same conversation as Luffy, Shanks, and Blackbeard. What if I told you the real reason why the world is so terrified of Buggy's military might is because he joined forces with the Dark King Silver's Rayleigh himself and the remnants of the Roger Pirates. And after all of this, the news is painting him as the mastermind behind this alliance. And what if I also told you that Buggy has already gotten his hands on one of the ancient weapons? I know this all sounds ridiculous and exciting, so you're going to want to stay tuned to the very end of the video because this will all come together by the end. So hit that like button and subscribe, and let me explain to you why Buggy will have one of the most terrifying armies the One Piece world has ever seen. In chapter 1053, we received a shocking reveal that Buggy is now a Yonko. And there have been plenty of theories, speculation. Was he the pirate that Shanks brought up while speaking to the Godase? Did the warlords end up teaming up and Buggy took credit as the leader of the warlords? But what I actually think is a lot more likely is that we see Rayleigh and the former Roger pirates join up with their former apprentice Buggy D. Clown. First, we must remember what Roger's dream was. As the pirate king, Roger was obsessed with turning the world upside down, and we even see him bring this up the first time he ever met Rayleigh, as he claims that it was a fated meeting. And I will bring this up later in the video, so keep it at the back of your mind for now. Next, we see during Wano how the Roger pirates traveled to Laugh Tale, and Roger says he was too early. But Buggy, as you might remember, was too sick to go with them to Laugh Tale. So one idea that I've had is that Buggy will eventually make it to Laugh Tale around the same time as Luffy. After all, Shanks did say that one day they would go with their own cruise. If you remember how Rayleigh was always willing to give Robin and Luffy the information about Laugh Tale, the history, and even the One Piece itself, it shows that he's not necessarily trying to hide this information. If Buggy and Rayleigh were ever to meet, I'm sure Buggy would ask him about the One Piece and where to find it. He's a treasure hunter at heart and a former Roger pirate, so I don't see a real reason why Rayleigh wouldn't tell him. This could also fit into the idea that all four of the Yonko could arrive in Laugh Tale: Blackbeard, Shanks, Buggy, and Luffy. So now, why do I think Rayleigh would ally with Buggy? Well, like I mentioned earlier, he is Roger's right-hand man and even went out of his way to train Luffy, who reminded him of Roger. So at the end of the day, I believe that he wants to continue Roger's will as the one who was the closest one as the vice captain. The vice captain embodies the captain to their fullest extent while also pushing their ambitions and goals to the forefront. When you think about Roger speaking about the golden age of pirates and giving hope to the world, telling everyone to find his treasure, the One Piece, it seems as Roger also intended on leaving a mark behind, an era of chaos and piracy, and a legend for all the most powerful pirates to see. What I think Roger really wanted though was to see the future era of the next Joyboy and what he would create, how he would turn the world upside down in the end. In the anime, Roger asked Rayleigh if he accomplished Roger's goal of turning the world upside down, and Rayleigh said that he did, but it seems like Roger was not yet fully satisfied. It was almost as if there was more for him to do. And this is why the opening scene of One Piece is so important, because it's after this speech before the world government takes his head that planted the final seeds that would make his dreams a reality. And now during this era of Joyboy, we see that Rayleigh said the straw hat fits Luffy even better than Roger, and you can see the hope in his eyes that Luffy will be the one to accomplish this. Like Whitebeard also said, someone will carry on the will of Roger and all the previous generations. During the scene in Sabaody where Luffy is going to Fishman Island, we also see that Rayleigh thinks of his captain in their first meeting, and this actually leads me to think why he will form an alliance with Buggy. First, the obvious answer is that they already know each other and are powerful forces in the world of One Piece. And maybe Buggy not so much, but his influence is something that should never be overlooked. The next reason is because Buggy is a treasure pirate and Rayleigh could offer him the location of the One Piece, like I said, or even exclusive information of how to get to Laugh Tale. Third, we have because Shanks said that him and Buggy would go to Laugh Tale one day. And finally, Rayleigh may want to play a part in the final war as someone who helps finalize Roger's dream. Now, quickly before we dive more into this idea and why I think it makes so much sense, subscribe and hit that bell like Luffy and Skypea if you're enjoying the video so far. It really goes a long way to help support the channel as we continue to grow. And also, if you enjoy our content and would like to support us even more, check out our Patreon where we are hosting exclusive One Piece podcasts discussing every chapter, our thoughts and theories and speculation as I go back and forth with my good friend Wizard of Wars, so go check it out, hit the link in the description. Now, back to the video. If you think about Goldie Roger and his crew, it is the greatest crew from a pirate perspective. There are not many other characters as piratey as this group. And we have plenty of videos on this channel explaining why the Roger pirates learned of the future events and prophecies at Laugh Tale, with Whitebeard's prophesized war and now Akainu declaring that he will fight back, showing that a global war is around the horizon. I'm expecting many legends to creep up from the shadows and take part in this. Remember that we don't know much about the remaining Roger pirates, but if anyone was to gather them for this final event, it would be the Dark King himself. Unlike most first mates, he actually maintains the respect as a vice captain that puts him in a very different role. Vice captains essentially gives him the authority to make decisions that are the best interest of the Roger pirates and the crew as a whole. We could very well see Gaban and Crocus show up with the other members supporting their old Nakama Buggy, as they will know that he is not really as powerful as the world may view him. In a story that involves coming together for the final war, it could really amplify Buggy's legacy and the return of the Roger pirates. We've already seen the alliance of Kaido and Big Mom bringing back the remnants of the rocks, so I would love to see this with one of the most legendary crews of all time, the Roger pirates. And the real reason why I actually thought of all of this in the first place was simply just me trying to come up with an idea and justification for Buggy becoming a Yonko. What could he have done that was so absurd, so insane, to put him on the same pedestal as Shanks and Blackbeard? I mean, just think about Shanks' reputation and how stacked Luffy's crew is. So in my mind, Buggy must have had to do something so insane, so shocking to really put him at that level. In my opinion, simply escaping the warlord abolishment is not enough, but what could have really put him up there with other legends is if the world is recognizing him as the second coming leader of the Roger pirates, the return of the Pirate King's legacy. Buggy at the forefront could even be looked at as the next Roger has some kind of joke in the world, or at least he may be viewed as the mastermind bringing everyone together. I can just imagine the newspaper releasing an image of Buggy and Rayleigh shaking hands or finding something out of context showing them joining forces with his criminal underling screaming out, "Buggy, he will be the next king of the pirates." Similar to Sabo, we might witness chants and rioting from around the seas. A fleet of criminals with nothing but admiration and excitement for Buggy's declaration that they will find the One Piece. I've always wondered about Rayleigh and his endgame role and what it could be. He's already trained the future Pirate King Luffy, but joining with Buggy makes a lot more sense and gives Buggy some powerful allies, and they could potentially free the slaves together like how Rayleigh did when he was first shown in Sabaody, and Buggy and Impel Down gathering criminals and being seen as this guy who took over the underworld, freeing hundreds and hundreds of people. Another possibility is somehow Buggy gets captured or his men get captured and he breaks out of Impel Down for a second time, being the only character to do this twice. So I kind of get the idea of aligning with the warlords. For example, if Boa or Weevil was captured, I could see him breaking them out when he's actually trying to get his crewmates back, but in the end they form an alliance and now we have what we have. And honestly, I do feel like Edward Weevil does fit in with the Buggy crew. He just has that kind of Mr. 3 vibe to him. You can't take him too seriously, but he is capable of doing important things. And in return, all of this with the return of the Roger pirates, breaking people out of prisons, it all makes Buggy a Yonko mastermind as far as having the underworld under control. If you remember, Big News Morgan was also part of the underworld and he might have some connections here with Buggy, plastering his name all the way to the top of the pirates. Because if Morgan actually does know Buggy and he's trolling him or hyping up his legacy in some way, this would lead into the idea that we can also see that maybe Sabo's story with him killing Cobra is not as black and white as it seems. And with these Roger pirates essentially coming out of nowhere, it creates even more chaos in the world. Like Admiral Akainu said, the One Piece world is absolutely crazy right now. Another thing is, even if Buggy escaped, he wouldn't have gotten very far. This is why I believe that someone as powerful as the Roger pirates could actually have helped him. As we know with Luffy, who is traveling the world making allies with kingdoms like Alabasta, Dressrosa, and Zou, we even now have Wano and the military forces of the samurai. And then that brings me in to think about the Roger pirates because they were specifically known for traveling the world. One of Roger's greatest feats was circumnavigating the entire world multiple times, giving him the advantage of meeting so many people, sharing his influence throughout the world, and discovering many wonders and mysteries of the One Piece story. And so if Buggy and Silver's Rayleigh team up, you now have the power to travel through uncharted territory. Just imagine how many allies Roger formed when traveling across the seas. We already know that he was friends with Tom, one of the greatest shipwrights of all time, and that's only one of his allies. I don't think that Roger was liberating people to the extent of Luffy and the Straw Hats, but considering that they do have the same dreams and similar personalities, and that Roger said that he wants to see the era of Joyboy, I could see a good amount amount of people that Roger did liberate throughout his time in the One Piece world. And this would truly enhance the scale of Buggy and the return of the Roger Pirates. If they're bringing in everyone like Luffy will bring in his allies in the end, we will see one of the greatest fleets the world has ever seen. Another hilarious possibility could be the giant egg on Roger's ship, because in my mind it could be a sea king or a giant snake or a dragon, but whatever you think it is, I have seen many theories in the community that this could be Uranus, an ancient weapon, and just throwing it out there because if Buggy actually manages to get his hands on an ancient weapon, this would be another great reason to label him as one of the foremost dangerous pirates in the new world. I definitely recommend checking out a video that I collab with on 3vol's channel where we talk about the Throne Wars. As we go into the final saga, we are essentially in an arms race for the ancient weapons and the One Piece, and this would fit with this idea, and once again, knowing Oda, he would be the type of writer to give Buggy an ancient weapon even if it only is for a brief period of time for comedic relief. And so if you want more in-depth details about the egg on Roger's ship, I would recommend checking out plenty of videos. I know O'Hara did one, Part Vision, and even Joy Girl, as they all have their own idea of this mysterious egg that can hold many secrets to the future of the One Piece story. But you let me know in the comments, why or how do you believe that Buggy became an emperor? And remember to subscribe and hit that like button to help the channel grow, and if you want to continue the journey to uncover the One Piece world's biggest mysteries, click on one of these two videos.